enough of. So let's talk about motorcycles in Costa Rica. And these ones are like 3,000, 2,100. Okay. And the same thing goes for the ones you have in front here. They're about, this one is like 1,000 for the first one, and the reason why a lot of people actually buy these is because it's a cheaper form of transportation in Costa Rica. And that is why we're going to talk about this. And the most expensive one is about 3,500. And we're going to talk about the pillions. So basically, the people sitting in the back. And why it's an interesting story. So basically, what's happening is that, oh, that's an interesting thing. All right. So basically, what's happening is that Costa Rica says it wants to put in a law that will ban pillion passengers. Those are the people sitting behind, and it's only for this area, this part of town in the city. So you have a lot of motorcycles, so single passengers, but they want to ban people sitting behind. And you're thinking, why would I want to do that? There is a reason that in recent years, there's been an increase in the amount of violence, basically Sicario. If you've seen the film, the Sicario 1 and 2, basically you understand what this is all about. So there have been gangs often related to, like for example, you have a bike and someone sitting behind it, and that is what they want to ban. And basically they're trying to ban men. So if you're a guy sitting on a bike and you have a pillion passenger, they want to ban those people and just make it single, but only in San Jose, because the Sicarios, what they've been doing is that they've been a car, like the bikes going by now, and whenever they plan to kill someone, so you have the main driver and the pillion passenger with a gun, and he just comes around and just eliminates whoever it is. And that has become a problem, because oftentimes most of these people would have the mask on, they have the headgear on, like here. So if the girl just behind, if she's the killer and she takes out a gun and pulls out a gun and kills someone, how would you know who the person is? And oftentimes the bike are stolen. So they'll steal a bike, so you have a lot of bikes. Oh, I need to cross on the other side. I just get it. So they steal a bike and then they go on a killing spree, and that is just not a good thing. And you've got loads of these bikers there, and the police, the investigative police, OIJ, has been trying so hard to stop this trend, and it's been very difficult because, well, they don't know who they are. And that is a problem, because you can't really catch any of these people if you don't know who they are. And you have the transit police, even they on their motorbike would find it very hard to arrest any of these people. So that is a big problem that Costa Rica has. And the law basically is meant well, and they're saying they're going to ban men from doing it. So you can't have two male on a bike, one pillion passenger and the other one. And already you can hear people saying that is discrimination, because first of all, in rural areas you get a lot of bikers, and because most people, it's cheaper to buy a bike, and then it's not unusual to see, say, 4 or to 5 people. No, I'm exaggerating. Say mother, father, and 2 children on a single bike. And it's just a means of transportation that is just so common. And now, if you were to ban that, you end up with problems. So you end up with a problem that how do you protect all the other people? But they said, okay, we're only going to make it in San Jose because that is where all the money is. That is where all the shootings and all the crazy things happening are. So we do it in San Jose. But I don't think they're going to succeed with the law for the simple reason that, okay, you see a lot of bikers. Okay, the final one you see there is something that is very common in San Jose, where people are using, it's like Uber Eats, but you have a woman who is registered as Uber Eats, but she uses the boyfriend or husband is the one who would drive, who would be the driver, the main driver of the bike, basically, and she just delivers the food. So there are a lot of normal people doing normal things on their bikes that if the law goes into effect, well, it has to go through the whole process of the legislation first, but if it goes through, it's going to be a problem. How do you resolve that? And so another thing the law is trying to do is this, that if you are, they want the pillion passenger should also have the motorcycle on your jacket that you wear. You have the motorcycle number registration, and you also have the same number on the back of your jacket, so that if for whatever reason the speed cameras and everything on the street would capture the number, the transit police could also check if your jacket matches if your jacket matches what the registration, you're fine. But if it doesn't match, or you don't have a registration and you're a pillion passenger, the police can pull you over, and then you get into trouble, basically. And they're trying to put that in place, but people are like, oh, that's going to be very difficult to implement because it requires a lot of cost for a lot of the bikers, and they're not even sure if it's going to stem the violence that people are seeing. And that is a big problem, that you're going to put in place something that will add additional cost for riders, and then it's going to, you're not even sure if it's going to stem the violence, gang violence, and street shootings. So I think this is going to be an interesting one to watch, where consumers and bikers would likely be against the law going through, because it doesn't make sense, but in a way it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense in another setting, if you understand what I mean. One of the reasons given for implementing, or for trying to implement the law, is that most of the sicarios are men. So what's now stopping those in the business from training women? Women could just be as brutal as men, as can be seen in places like El Salvador, where some of the women are just as evil, as nasty as the men. So it becomes an interesting thing to see if it's going to work. And another thing is this. if the law comes into play, there is another thing you could that people could actually do. That is, they practice where you have a single rider instead of having a pillion passenger. You have a single rider, and the single rider basically is the one who goes around and just creates wreak havoc. So that is, the debate is out there that it's going to be very difficult for people to implement a law that will be rather discriminatory, because they're thinking it targets men. It's only how do you know that it's going to be effective, and the fact that how are you going to actually make it work in practice. Everyone, a pillion passenger, has the jacket registration, but it just seems to be it reaches desperation basically. They don't have a solution for that, and they're thinking putting in more laws would resolve the issue. But a lot of people are saying it's not going to solve the problem. You need to solve the root cause. Don't add anything cosmetic to it. And the root cause basically is that a lot of money laundering is happening in Costa Rica. That's a fact. And a lot of transit. People are using Costa Rica as a transit. And the more people start to fight for the territory, it's just like similar to what the Americans tried to do on their war on drugs and all that stuff. And then people said, well, what if you cut the demand? If you do that, then the problem will be solved, because most of the people consuming all these illicit drugs are not from Central America or Colombia. They just produce it because there's a market for it. So if you kill the market, you solve the problem. And I think something similar can be done in Costa Rica. But the problem is, like in the US, they're going to face the same problem. It's an economic problem. It brings in a lot of revenue. It stimulates the economy. It means a lot of the big financial institutions are able to make money from laundering all that good stuff that people do. So you can't really say we're going to put sort of a cosmetic solution to a much bigger problem. And because of that, you don't really have a solution in place. And I think that is where the whole problem is now. So now, what are the options? I don't think they have an option. A lot of people have just said, look, if these people who are in the business are willing to sacrifice each other just to dominate the market, that's fine. It's not my problem. They can do whatever they want. And let them, if it's between them, well, just let them go.